Welcome to Episode 6, The Rise of Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar is one of history's most iconic figures, a man whose ambition, military prowess, and political acumen transformed the Roman Republic and set the stage for the rise of the Roman Empire. His rise to power was marked by a combination of calculated risks, brilliant military campaigns, and deft political maneuvering that ultimately led to the end of the Roman Republic and the dawn of an imperial era. Gaius Julius Caesar was born on July 12, 100 BCE, into a patrician family with a noble lineage but relatively modest means. Despite his family's ancient heritage, the Julii had been politically sidelined for generations, and Caesar's early years were marked by political turbulence. His uncle, Gaius Marius, was a prominent figure in the Populares faction, which advocated for the rights of the common people against the Optimates, the conservative senatorial elite. Caesar's early exposure to the political strife of the time, including the Marian-Sullan civil wars, deeply influenced his worldview. In 82 BCE, when Sulla, the leader of the Optimates, assumed control of Rome and initiated purges against his opponents, Caesar found himself in danger due to his familial ties to Marius. Rather than face execution, he fled Rome and joined the military, where he began to build his reputation as a skilled and courageous leader. Caesar's early military career took him to Asia Minor and Cilicia, where he distinguished himself in battle and was awarded the prestigious civic crown for saving the life of a fellow soldier. These early successes bolstered his reputation and laid the groundwork for his future ambitions. After Sulla's death in 78 BCE, Caesar returned to Rome, where he began to navigate the complex political landscape. Caesar quickly realized that military success alone would not be enough to achieve his goals. He needed powerful allies. He aligned himself with the Populares faction, using his charm, oratory skills, and keen political instincts to win the favor of the Roman masses. His efforts paid off when he was elected quaestor in 69 BCE, a position that marked the beginning of his formal political career. In 65 BCE, Caesar was elected aedile, a position that allowed him to gain popularity by organizing public games and festivals. His lavish spending during this period increased his debts but also solidified his reputation as a man of the people. He continued to rise through the political ranks, becoming Pontifex Maximus, Rome's chief priest, in 63 BCE, a position of significant religious and political influence. Caesar's rise was not without opposition. His debts and growing influence worried the Senate, particularly the Optimates, who saw him as a potential threat to their power. To counter this, Caesar formed a strategic alliance with two of Rome's most powerful men, Pompey, a celebrated general, and Crassus, the wealthiest man in Rome. This informal political alliance, known as the First Triumvirate, was formed in 60 BCE and allowed Caesar to secure the consulship in 59 BCE. As consul, Caesar implemented a series of popular reforms, but his true ambition lay in military glory. In 58 BCE, he was appointed governor of the provinces of Cisalpine Gaul, Transalpine Gaul, and Illyricum. This position gave him control of a large army and the opportunity to expand Rome's territories. The Gallic Wars, which lasted from 58 to 50 BCE, were a defining period in Caesar's career. Over the course of nearly a decade, Caesar led his legions in a series of campaigns that brought most of Gaul under Roman control. His military genius was evident in battles such as the Siege of Alesia, where he successfully surrounded and defeated a much larger Gallic force led by Vercingetorix. Caesar's victories not only expanded Rome's territory but also brought immense wealth and increased his popularity among the Roman people. The Gallic Wars also provided Caesar with a seasoned and loyal army, a powerful tool that he would later use to challenge the authority of the Senate. During his time in Gaul, Caesar wrote commentaries on his campaigns, which served as both a record of his accomplishments and a piece of political propaganda that kept his name and deeds in the public eye. While Caesar was campaigning in Gaul, tensions were rising in Rome. The First Triumvirate began to unravel after the death of Crassus in 53 BCE during his ill-fated campaign against the Parthians. Without Crassus to mediate between them, the relationship between Caesar and Pompey deteriorated. Pompey, once Caesar's ally, began to align himself with the Senate and the Optimates, who were increasingly wary of Caesar's growing power. In 50 BCE, the Senate, led by Pompey, ordered Caesar to disband his army and return to Rome as a private citizen. The Senate feared that Caesar, with his loyal legions, would use force to seize power. Caesar, however, knew that returning to Rome without the protection of his army would leave him vulnerable to his enemies. In January 49 BCE, Caesar made the fateful decision to defy the Senate's orders. He crossed the Rubicon River, the boundary between his province and Italy, with his army, famously declaring, "Alia iacta est," the die is cast. This bold move marked the beginning of the Roman Civil War. Caesar's march on Rome was swift and decisive. Pompey and many senators fled the city, leaving Caesar in control. Over the next few years, Caesar pursued Pompey and his forces across Italy, Greece, and Egypt, where Pompey was ultimately assassinated. Caesar's victories in the Civil War solidified his power, and by 45 BCE, he was the undisputed ruler of Rome. In 44 BCE, Caesar was appointed dictator for life, a title that confirmed his dominance but also fueled fears that he intended to establish a monarchy. Despite his popularity with the people and the army, many in the Senate viewed Caesar as a tyrant. On March 15, 44 BCE, a group of senators, led by Brutus and Cassius, assassinated Caesar in the Senate, believing they were saving the Republic from dictatorship. However, Caesar's assassination did not restore the Republic as the conspirators had hoped. Instead, it plunged Rome into another round of civil wars, leading to the rise of Caesar's grandnephew and adopted son, Octavian, who would become Augustus, the first Roman emperor.